Right, change the battery. Right, what I was saying earlier, that scratch stands out like a sore thumb when I'm stood here. That's why I only just noticed it once I put the box on. I'm not going to sort of say that it's been done by whoever bent the fucking back of the bike, because I honestly don't know. I did have a good look at the box and I never noticed that. So I think that could have been, I've maybe knocked it against something when I've took the box off. So it could be my own fault. But that bit at the front there, that still needs polished. I've actually flatted the scratch out of it, but I just need to polish it to bring the shine back out. So basically I've got the exact same thing to do on the other side. Seat to put back on, speakers to line up. You can hear that, but the speakers are still loose. So they're to line up properly and then tighten up. There is a couple other bits and pieces. I'll tell you what I need to do as well when I take this box back off. I've got side panels to put back on. But everything's looking spot on again now, as from the back. I know you can't see it at the minute, but I'll take, once I've got it all back together, I'll take it for a run out. Make sure everything's right. There is a couple of bits and pieces that I'm going to do. I've bought I won't film them, but I've just shown you what I've got. They're for the clutch inspection cover. They're sort of proper Harley Davidson chrome screws, because I'm sick of these. I bought some bolts a while ago to put in this cover. They were meant to be high grade stuff and they were absolute fucking garbage. But anyways, I bought them, so I'll be replacing them. But one thing I will film, this is something, if I can find the receipt I'll prove it. I bought this, it must have been, bollocks, it must have been 3 years ago for this, and then it got dumped to one side, plonked in a box, and then I forgot all about it. But what I've got here, if I zoom out a bit, it's a shim, a knife, smooth rider on that bit, some bits and pieces. But basically what this is, if I can get the fucking instructions out, I bought it ages ago. As I say, if I can find the receipt I'll fucking prove it. But I'm going to film this when it goes on. I'll open the instructions up in a second. But I want to take it for a test run first, make sure everything's right. It's one of them kits that goes in bolts on your cross member, bolts to your gearbox. Change the page. Adjustment things go into it. Basically it helps keep the motor sitting in place, so you get less movement in these rear bushes for your swing arm, etc. But you've got to make sure that the fucking thing's all aligned properly before you fit it. Because if you put it on and it's not aligned, then basically you're going to run with a non-aligned bike. Now that's something I'll do in the near future, but I want to test this thing out first, make sure everything's right. But for now, there isn't really anything else to show you. And the only reason I did this little thing of videos, as you see right at the beginning of the start of this sort of carry on, I'd already stripped the bike down. I wasn't actually going to video it, as I said right at the start. But I just thought, if anyone else has had this issue where, you know, they're looking at the back of the bike and they go, oh, something doesn't look right there, you know, just, if it helps anybody, a single person, so they think, oh, actually, I'll have a go at that, you know, and say, oh, mine was just twisted, I loosened a few things off and it sprung back. Mine, yes, fair enough, I had to adjust them bits that stick out the ends of the frame, but I've got it all back into alignment, as in everything's sitting as it should be again. But yeah, I only did it so if anyone else has got the issue, or you know, they've got half an idea of what to look for. Not necessarily how to do it, because what I've done is just how I've done it, obviously. But it's just to give some ideas of what to look for if you have got a back end that's not lining up properly. So for now, this is this series. I don't know how much footage I've got, so I might make it in 2 sections, but I'll put them on at the same time. But that's finished, because there's nothing else now apart from a test run. But there's now else to show you. It's lined up. You've seen that it's lined up. I've told you what I've done, etc., etc. I've put it back together. What I did on this side is it's the absolute same to do on that side. Then the seat to go back on. Obviously, I've got the speakers to sort out so that they're sitting. You know, there's a lot of movement when the bolts are loose on these speakers, so you've got a bit of waggle room. What I do is I spend a little bit of time making sure that they just line up just right, and then nip them up. Yeah, so there's not else really to show you with this. But when I do get round to fitting that stabiliser thing, I'll go through it all with you. I'll video it all, setting it up and how to do it, etc. So, but for now, that's me done. Take care. Right, I've got, I know I said I was going to finish the video, but basically the bike's completely back together apart from the seat. But earlier in the video I think I mentioned, you see my finger in there, that is my neutral switch. I haven't got a neutral on this bike. I'll show you eventually. Right, quick test is if you unplug the wiring, I'm hoping you can see the wiring, and what I've done, if I can get it, I've got a piece of, I'm too zoomed in really, I've got a piece of wire and I'm just going to jump across these 2 connectors. If I can get my hand in, I've got a torch in here so hopefully so things can be seen better. Right, so it's not my light, my neutral light has just come on. So what I'll do now is I'll just plug it back in, if I can. I know I'm probably blocking your view, but right, I'm waggling the connectors about on there. If you can hear a humming noise, it's the fan off my headlight, because some of you will know I've got LED headlight in and the fan cooled. Right, so my neutral hasn't come back on and the bike is in neutral, I've checked that already. So what I'm going to have to do now is take this switch out and check. These are right next to my toolbox, I should be able to get a spanner. As long as I get the right size. In fact I might not do it. I'm going to have to move my light for a second, it'll just get dark. Just need to work out what size. It's still big. So it's 15/16. That'll be 2. Too small, I think. That's the right one. Hopefully, I should be able to crack that, which I just have. A little bit awkward to get at. Now I'm just going to see if there's anything on the end of the switch. And it's going to be tight all the way. Yeah, because if there's no on the end of the switch, I'll do a quick sort of electrical test as well. Because I might just have to buy a new switch. Right, that's out. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come round there, knock the camera off for a minute, and then switch you back on, and I'll be able to show you this switch. Oh. In fact, what I might do is just turn this screen and zoom out. Right, so that's the switch. Now with these switches, basically you've got a ball on the end of there and it goes in and out. Now it might be that the actual inside there'll be like a little contactor that contacts these two together, which makes the loop. So you'll have one with power coming in. When the button's pressed in when it's in neutral, it'll complete the circuit, so it'll go around there and then basically bring the neutral light on. So what I'm going to just quickly do, again I'll knock you off, I'll get my electrical tester out, then I'll switch you back on and we'll test this and see if it's faulty. If it is, obviously I'm just going to have to buy another. Right, I'll be back in a minute. Right, I've connected the two probes to my meter. Let's get rid of that. Now, as you can see, I'm getting nothing, and the reason for that is I haven't switched my meter on. So I'm going to set it on to a beep, like a continuity. I'll just check that it actually. Yep, I don't know if you can hear that. That's just putting the probes together. Huh? Or it was. That's it. Right, so I'll keep these things in the right frigging place. Now it doesn't matter which way round you have these, because you're just making a circuit basically. Right, so the thing's on and I'm getting absolutely nothing. I'm going to just change the way I've got these clipped on just to make sure they're getting a connection. Come on, you dick. Right, so they're definitely getting a connection, and it doesn't matter how hard. Oh, I got a reading then. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'll do it off camera. I'm just going to spray, I'm going to hold that down, and I'm going to spray some cleaner in there, and I'm just going to work it up and down a few times. I'm just going to see if it's dirt in there that's causing it to not work. I shall be back in a more. Right, so I've put some, basically what I've done is I've just put WD-40 in, and I've pressed it up and down a few times and spun the little bearing, because the bearing's free, it'll roll. So just pushed it up and down a few times, so I'll just see if it's made a shite of difference. You know, if it's been dirt, there's a chance that the WD will clean it off. And it doesn't seem to be making any difference at all. I am getting a reading, but it's not beeping. Let's see if it's definitely getting a grip on there, as is that one. See what I'm going to do, just to point that it's not me clips playing up, just stick them to one side and just use my probes instead. So that's beeping, so just have to carefully get these together. And with a bit of jiggery pokery of the old fingers, I'll chuck that on the floor. Try again. Right. Right, so I've got that. Nothing. So I've got a knackered switch. So I'll get one of them ordered tonight. What I might just do, I know it's not going to work, so it's a sort of a pointless exercise, but I might plug it in. I shall I'll knock you off for a second. I'm just going to plug this onto the wires, and then I'm going to work that by hand and see if the neutral light will come on. As I say, on the here, on the meter, you can see you've got a digital display. When you touch them and you get you get the buzz. But you can also see that you get a reading on the meter. Well, when I had them connected up onto that, it was actually giving a reading, but it wasn't sounding the whatchamacallit. So I'm just gonna test, just for my own curiosity. I'll be back in a minute. Right, I plugged it in and it didn't work. So it's definitely the switch that's knackered. And just to prove what I was on about before, well, not to prove, but just to show what I was on about before, I'll just get my torch back in here, working somehow so I can see. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but what I did earlier, where I put the wires across, the two contactors, the two plugs should I say, yeah, I was saying when you press the ball in the switch, it sort of makes the circuit. So this piece of wire that I did earlier when I was testing, if I can get it to go in the holes, this does the same thing, it completes the circuit. Now as you can see there, the neutral light's coming on. Hang on, it's far out the hole. Yeah, so the neutral light's coming on, take the wire away, goes off. Put the wire back in, comes on, etc. And that's the same, just that bit of wire again. That's doing the exact same job as what the switch should be doing. As I pointed out, when you press the ball in, that should push a little thing to make a contact over them two bits, which closes the circuit and gives you the complete loop. So that just sort of proves that it's definitely the switch that's knackered. So on that note, I'll call it a day, because obviously I can't do nothing else. But yeah, as I say, the bike's back together apart from the seat, or the speakers. I haven't sorted the speakers out yet on the back. So, but I wanted to show this neutral switch, just you know, an easy way of testing it. You know, obviously it I put the wires in the plugs as you saw. I've just done it again now and it brought the neutral light on. Well, it did earlier as well when I had the camera angle in showing down by the top of the gearbox. Took the switch out, tested it with the tester as you saw. The switch was not getting, it wasn't doing anything. So you don't even need to take your switch out to test for your neutral light. Just take your two plugs off, loop, thing it over with a wire, like a loop, put a loop in it. If your light comes on, it's your switch that's playing up. If your light doesn't come on, you've got another issue. So, but yeah, I just thought I'd show you all that. So basically, that's pretty much it for now until the new neutral light the switch turns up. So I'll knock you off, and I'll come back when we've got the new switch. Cool as. Right, it's a couple of days later. New neutral switch. Got that from V-Twin Mania, which is in Edinburgh. Ordered it Wednesday night. It's now Friday. It was on the doorstep when I got home from work. It wasn't on the doorstep, it was through the door, but it was here today. So when I got home from work, I thought, grand. What I'm going to just quickly do, I'm just going to set this onto beep again. You can hear that beep. Connect this up. This is what I was trying to do with the other one that I took off. So, connect it up. As soon as I press you can hear the beep. So, and that's what I was trying to get off the old one. And because I couldn't get it, that proved it was knackered. So, one thing I should have said on the last clip. The old one is in the bike. I just screwed it in a couple of turns just so the hole wasn't open. So I'm just going to quickly whip that out. In fact, what I'll do is I'll knock you off, I'll zoom you in up here, and we'll get this fitted. And we'll hopefully see, if I zoom in up there, Now there's now to fitting this. The only thing I will have to do is find my thread sealer that I always use. So I'll just knock you off for a minute, find my thread sealer, and then come back and get this thing fitted. Right, what I've done, because you couldn't see me fitting the new part, I just fitted it and put the wires on. And now I need my freaking keys. It always helps if you've got the keys. So and there you go, neutral light. First gear, neutral. Second gear, neutral. So that's spot on. I now have neutral again. Just putting into service mode at the minute. Cool. So now, what I can do, right, speaking with my tongue around my gob there, is I can get the rest of this actually put together. Get a seat on. I've got these to tighten up still, which I said last time, because when I finished on that other clip, when I was saying I'm going to have to order a new switch, I just closed the garage up and went back in the house. So yeah, sort the speakers out, as in fit them in properly so that they're tight. Put the seat on, and then what I'll do is I'll take it for a run. Put a few mile on it, make sure all this back end is going to stay where it's meant to. I can't see it moving, but I just want to double check. Once I'm happy that it's as it should be, then I'm going to start fitting that, I don't even know what you call it, smooth rider. It's like a thing you put in, it helps keep your back wheel from, you know, with the rubber isolators and everything, it stops it all. It's meant to stop it moving. So, but yeah, I'll get it, have it a ride round first and make sure this is all right and the rest of the bike's still spot on. I can't think about what else. I said earlier on as well, I'll crack this thing up with these new pipes on so you can have a listen. So I'll knock you off and move you, and I'll move the bike out of the garage and get it fired up. Let you have a listen to that, and then we'll call it a day for now. Back soon. This is a cold start. A lot nicer with these on than it did with them monster ovals. Cool as.